Welcome, Ignite Nation, to Ignite the Flame podcast. I'm Jay Cosey, your host, and today we have Naeemah Marquez. She is the Director of Care Transitions at Ignite Medical Resorts, San Antonio. Good morning, Naeemah.
Good morning.
Well, welcome to the show. And first of all, tell us about your position and how long you've been with Ignite Medical Resorts, San Antonio.
I'm the Director of Care Transitions. We do basically case management, discharge planning. I've been at this building for 4.5 years. So Ignite bought us out in April 2022. So we've been rocking and rolling since then.
So talk to us about that LMSW behind your name. What does that represent and what did it take for you to acquire it?
Yeah, so I'm a licensed master level social worker, meaning I went to school. I've actually got my bachelor's in social work as well. So I went to Texas State, went there pretty undecided. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I declared my major as nursing. So I was like, I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to be a nurse. That was what I
Yes.
saw myself doing.
Yes.
Started taking the classes, did all the prereqs, realized very quickly that is not what I wanted to do. So I had to go talk to a guidance counselor, and he literally sat me down and was like, so what do you like about nursing? And as I wrote everything down, he was like, that's not a nurse, that's a social worker. So that's kind of how I got into the social work program, did my undergrad and then went to grad school and got my master's in social work and then got licensed.
Wow, that's outstanding. And Ignite Nation, I want you all to be aware because we're all growing and we're all developing. And so what I love is seeing that Ignite is able to go out and scour the land and find the best talent possible to drive this mission. Let's talk about your career at Ignite. What has been one of your most significant accomplishments, or not even significant, one that you're most proud of?
So definitely, it was earlier this year when we announced our Line of the Year awards, which is basically the Manager of the Year. So I
Yes.
got Manager of the Year for San Antonio, and I was
What?
super, super excited about that. I had a really, really hard 2024 work-wise. I had a lot of turnover in my department. I had a lot of changes in my department, a lot of duties that got added. So it was a tough year.
Mm-hmm.
So to be recognized by, my administrator and my fellow colleagues that to win that award it was really nice.
I celebrate that success with you. And I really celebrate the fact that I know you had to overcome some challenges in order to achieve that. So
Yeah.
for Ignite Nation, so that we could kind of model the behavior, what are some things that you did to persevere that year?
I definitely leaned on my managers a lot. I think before I would kind of hide and not really say if I'm like having a rough day, but I kind of had some managers, some colleagues that I would say, hey, say it's not a great day. And they would jump right in. Okay, what can I do to support you? I'm like, okay, so that actually really helped carry me through because without them kind of being my support through the day to day, I would not have made it through as successful as I did last year.
So it's a team award, and that's something
Mhm.
that speaks volumes, not only to Ignite Medical Resorts, but specifically to you all here at San Antonio.
Oh yeah. So we have a challenging building. We're 105, all short term, all skilled. So it takes a lot of us to really get it all together, even with myself and my department. At other Ignite buildings, there's a director of care transitions and maybe an assistant.
Uh-huh.
I have a team of four because
Wow.
it is just so busy. It's a lot to take on every single day, lots of meetings. We have a huge payer mix. Each different insurance comes with their own, guidelines and certain things we have to do. So it's definitely a fast-paced building for sure.
So this is kind of in the same spirit, but what fuels your passion for your team and your department as far as a care transitions team?
Yeah, I think it's just seeing all these successful outcomes. When these family members, they come here, their guests, their loved one is here. A lot of times they come really confused, kind of lost. The hospital kind of just discharged them to us, and they're like, I don't know what to
Mm-hmm.
do next.
Mm-hmm.
So when we can come in and kind of bridge those gaps and give them the resources that they need to go home, and then you can visibly see it. A lot of times they're like, okay. like that kind of helps me keep going because it feels like I'm impacting them.
Talk to us about your impact on families and how that makes you feel. You just alluded to it, which brought this to my mind. Wow,
Yeah.
what is the impact that we also have on those that are supporting the guests that we're
Oh my
caring for?
gosh. Yes, because it's a unit. You have to look at it as a unit. You
Hmm.
know, essentially two lives are being affected at least when they go to the hospital. Maybe their mom fell down, broke their hip. She's 80 years old, been living by herself, everything's been fine.
Hmm.
Now she's needs complete and total assistance. They come here for therapy, and maybe she can't get independent. So
Hmm.
now daughter's now contemplating retiring early. Now she's having to think, do I place my mom in assisted living? Do I take her home with me, hire caregivers? Do I let her go back to her house? It's a lot of decisions. So you have the guest who a lot of times were completely independent and now that's all changed for them. Then you have the family and their support system. They're also having to make a lot of changes in their lives. And
Hmm.
that's incredibly frustrating. They need a lot of guidance with that
Hmm.
because a lot of times this is the first time they've ever had to encounter that. And we were actually just talking earlier with my team that a lot of our guests are getting younger and younger.
Hmm.
So these family members that I'm talking about, they could be in their 40s,
Hmm.
and not expecting to have to deal with things like this at that age. So it's a lot to navigate.
And I'm thinking as I'm listening to you, the heart is transitioning from one step to another as someone is going through the process, as you're
Right,
standing in the gap and helping people get from A to B. Isn't that
right.
interesting?
Yes.
Now,
Oh, yeah.
now maybe that's because I'm married to a social worker and I got to make sure that I understand this correctly. But I always found it interesting as a general manager of a community how social services or care transitions is involved in so much.
Oh,
And
yeah.
sometimes we have to say, hey, do not kill the messenger. Do not
Oh, yeah.
kill the messenger. So we talk about building trust because you're in the care transition team.
Mm-hmm.
So you're demonstrating trust on a regular basis. So what
Hmm.
strategies do you have to help build trust across all departments because you're overlapping with so many various teams?
Oh yeah. I mean, it is the team approach,
Hmm.
and not thinking, well, that's not my department. It's more of, someone calls, they have a question about maybe it's a simple question, like, hey, what is the day that my insurance goes into a co-payment? If
Hmm.
I can find the information, I'll just give it to them. And then I'll let my business office manager know, hey, they just called, let them know that I told them the right thing. And she's like, yep. I'm like, perfect. All right, we're good to go. Because my hope is that if they call her and they had a quick question that's in my department and she knows the answer that she answers it because we're all a team,
Hmm.
and I think when you continue to kind of think outside the box and really be that true team player, it creates a different type of environment and culture across your management team. It really does.
ACA InCal has a building trust and long-term care curriculum,
Mhm.
and we had the privilege of going through it as part of our LIT and CNO IT programs. And I mention that because they lead us in three different tenets. And one of them is called empathy. And empathy is I care about you. So if we can demonstrate empathy, we're demonstrating I care about you, and that increases the likelihood of someone trusting.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Logic is the second tenet. When people understand how we're processing and they're
Mhm.
trusting our thought process, our patterns. And then
Right.
last one is authenticity. Are we showing up as our true self? And as
Yeah.
I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about these three tenets and how you and your team are charged with making sure that our guests and their families
Right.
feel the authenticity,
Right.
feels the empathy, and feels the logic.
Yeah.
Kudos to you and your team. The more we talk about this,
Thank
the more I
you.
understand why you all walked away with the hardware last year. All right. So tell me, what is one fun fact that may be surprising about you?
See, a fun fact. Well, it's a hobby that I had. I haven't really done it a lot, but I really, really love to decorate cakes. That was actually my first job in high school. I started working at a bakery, and my role was to decorate all the cakes. So I did the decorating. I don't like the baking so much. The decorating I love. I got married in 2023, and I decorated my own wedding cake. Um,
Wow, and congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I love doing that. It's just fun.
Well, if this isn't too personal, what do you do for work-life balance?
For work-life balance, I try really hard to, when I get home, just take a beat. Because a lot of the situations or things that might have happened at work can kind of carry with you. So I try to just leave it at work for a moment, do something else, whether it's just like watching, a stupid reality TV show
Yes,
or listening to music,
yes.
walking my dog. That helps a lot. Even if I have to work sometimes at home, I do that first.
Mhm.
Then I crack my computer open because I'm like, all right, I've had a little time by myself, kind of de-stressed, and now I can get back to it.
I think that's important for all of our Ignite the Flame listeners out there. You work in a very demanding career space. We expect excellence here at Ignite
Yeah,
Medical Resorts. That's just the bottom line. And so
yeah.
part of that and part of being successful navigating is to make sure that we are intentional, and I want to
Hmm.
be intentional in two areas. I want to charge Ignite Nation to be more mindful when you're at the resort. Sometimes we
Hmm.
can have our mind full of stuff and we
Hmm.
lose sight of the joy that we're bringing others. So I want
Right,
to make sure that we're staying more mindful in the
right,
workplace. And then when we get home, I want to make sure that we have our minds full of stuff, both personal and professional. But then just saying, hey, I want to be mindful to live in the moment where I'm at. And
right.
I think it's appropriate to say because every single care professional at Ignite Medical Resorts carries a level of responsibility. And
Yeah.
every single one of you matter and you bring value each and every day. And it's so much fun talking to all of our professionals here and getting to learn more and more about the Ignite Medical Resorts family. If you had
Right.
if you had any final comments, what would they be for Ignite Nation?
Yeah, I would say especially, just with care transitions, network. Put yourself out there, go to those mixers, talk to reps, because that's how you build your resources. That's how you build partnerships. I didn't do that so much with my previous job, which was
Mm-hmm.
kind of the same role.
Mm-hmm.
I've made time to do that since I've been here at that building, and it's really helped. A lot of times with social work, you're almost as good as the resources you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely have to kind of put yourself out there, meet people. If they say, "Hey, can I come by and just chat with you about my information?" You're like, I'm kind of busy. Make a little time because you never know if you might use that resource. So I would definitely say if I had to kind of give some advice to people in care transitions or going to go into care transitions, it's definitely networking.
Wow. And you know what? That advice can go across the board to all of us. And that
Oh
is take advantage of every opportunity you have to learn people, to network, to engage. You never know when an opportunity may present itself for you. When I'm on stage, I start talking about CEO, change evolves opportunity, and how
yeah.
sometimes I know me personally, I'm hesitant with change. And then I
Yeah.
look at how over the past couple years, change just continues to evolve
Mhm.
opportunity. So keep
Oh, yeah.
looking for ways to grow, for ways to develop. You're at a great organization, Ignite Nation. So let's keep bringing value. My final comments would be: it's a joy to speak with you all. I try and get a message out at least twice a month. As we end all, there's nothing more honorable than placing the needs of someone else before your very own. And this is something that we take pride in. We love doing. And it's nothing greater than doing it at an organization where you feel as they have the same skin in the game as you
Oh,
do.
yeah.
and that they are committed to driving excellence. And so on behalf of our guest, Naeemah Marquez and Gerald Cosey, thank you for joining us this week on Ignite the Flame podcast.
Thank you.